As we've been preparing to plant the 2018 rice crop, I wanted to give you an update on our water situation in Northern California and explain the work we've been doing with our equipment out here on the farm. I'll touch on the water situation shortly, but I want to first cover the work we've accomplished around our equipment yard with our tractors and planting implements. As you can see, we have our fleet of tractors all out of the barn. We've taken the time to thoroughly check them over as we want to prevent any possible breakdowns in order to maintain high efficiency once planting begins. On the tractors, we changed the engine oil and replaced all the oil, hydraulic, water, and fuel filters. For a bit more on that process, please check out last year's episode 24 titled Engine Oil on Steel Canvas. We changed all the filters and engine oil on all the tractors this month. We also replaced all the chisel teeth on our plow chisels. The plow chisel is the first implement we use to rip open the ground, so these teeth take quite a beating and become worn down every year after planting. Episode 25, titled Why I Love Logging, touches on that process a bit more. We also checked the plow chisels over for cracks and ensured the hydraulic rams aren't leaking. And there's always the obvious repairs, but it's the surprises that are only found after close examination. Aside from the tractors and pull chisels, we've looked over our discs. Luckily, the disc blades are still in good shape and they don't need to be replaced. We've also identified any problem areas and cracks that need to be welded. We did replace one worn out tongue where the disc meets the tractor hitch, but luckily, for the most part, the discs were in good shape coming out of last year's planting season. Our land planes didn't need much work either, but we did need to replace a hydraulic ram on one. So after all this work on the tractors, the pull chisels, and the land planes, we pretty much have our planting equipment ready to go. For an overview of planting rice and the order of operations for all these implements, check out episode 27 titled How Rice is Planted in California, Breaking Ground. That was a fun video. As you may remember from a more recent episode of Rice Farming TV, we drained the winter water that was decomposing last year's rice straw. That means our ground is drying out, and now, as you know, our equipment is ready. But that, of course, leaves out one key ingredient to prepare for planting rice: knowing if we'll have enough water to farm, and depending on the amount of water, how much we'll be able to farm. Just 3 weeks ago in late February, I uploaded episode 61 of Rice Farming TV titled The California Drought and Farming Without Water. And here are 4 key bullet points from that video, of which I'll expound upon in this episode. 1. Northern California's wettest months, December, January, and February, pass by with next to no rain. 2. Lake Oroville is a reservoir that supplies our irrigation district and rice fields with surface water, and its current level is at 59% of average. 3. As of February 1st, the snowpack of the Sierra Nevada mountain range up above Lake Oroville was at a dismal 14% of average. 4. This snowpack is important because as the snow melts during spring and summer, it supplements Lake Oroville, recharging the surface water supply. Now, since uploading that video, by the end of February, the snowpack fell further to a scary 7% of average. This was scary because a determining factor of us receiving the full allocation of our state contracted surface water is based on the snowpack and anticipated snowmelt. More specifically, there needs to be an estimated 600,000 acre-feet or 195 billion gallons of unimpaired snowmelt flowing into Lake Oroville throughout the spring and summer. That survey, calculation, and determination takes place on April 1st. Now, as I mentioned back in episode 61, mid-February, I optimistically did not want to call it a drought situation yet because in the distant past, we have been saved by cold March rains and snowfall in the mountains. Sure enough, and fortunately, storms in the first days of March boosted the snowpack from 7% up to 39% of average, and this figure doesn't include additional snow that is falling right now during these mid-March storms. We definitely will see that snowpack percentage rise, and a new survey could be taken any day now. So after all that drama, there's a high probability with projected incoming storms that we will have our allocated surface water delivered and our contract upheld with the state. Although with less than average rainfall this winter, there will be a need for water across California. If the opportunity presents itself, our irrigation district may facilitate a water sale and transfer, allowing rice farmers with primary water rights to elect not to plant a portion of their fields and send that portion of allocated water to those in need. those in need being other farmers, environmental organizations, and/or cities. The water situation is definitely looking a lot better mid-March than it was mid-February. Now back to planting rice. When the rain stops, we'll wait for the ground to dry out. We'll have our tractors and implements on standby, and as soon as we can, we'll hop into the fields, start breaking ground, and start the planting process of the 2018 rice crop. Let me know what questions you have about our water situation or about the equipment we use to put in a new crop of rice. All the links to the episodes I mentioned throughout this video are down in the description. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this, and please subscribe to stay updated with our 2018 rice crop. Thanks for watching, and take care.